Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? So, I want to do a music lesson. Oh, I have the sound on. Yeah, let me turn all that off. Sorry about that, guys. Gotta do. Okay. Yeah, I want to do a music lesson, even though I don't have a guitar in my hand. It's a music lesson I'd like to do. And before I do that, I want to mention that uh, I'm using a different lamp now in my room. It's got a different lighting texture to it. I kind of like it better myself. It is different lampshade, different lighting. It still uses light, but it's a different lamp I'm using. So I kind of like it better. When you guys can tell me what you think if you want. Let's do a music lesson. Okay, this might be interesting because it represents progress, original progress in my own music theory thinking, that I have never reached this level, or at least to this detail of what I'm going to say. I recently said to you guys, and I meant it, and I mean what I say, that I've recently been able to channel Mozart. He's one of the best musicians that ever lived, I believe. And I was thinking on my walk, I do most of my creative stuff on my walks, actually. And this is just playing guitar. I can't play guitar on my walks, but as far as mental stuff, a lot of my best stuff comes to me on my walks. I've thought about the minor keys, and everybody and their brother seems to think that you have to do harmonic minor, sometimes melodic minor, otherwise you're not going to sound good. And I had to assume this myself. I had to assume this for as long as I've been studying music theory. But I realized on my walk the other day that basically a key, major or minor, is based on 3 chords. Each chord is based on the overtone series or the undertone series. Major chords are based on the overtone series. Minor chords are based on the undertone series, but from the bottom up, not the top down, but the bottom up. So it's going to get a minor chord out of the deal. And then if you want to make a scale, you have a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord, or tonic, subdominant, and dominant, if you want to look at it that way. And for majors, most people play major, major, major. So if the 1 chord is major, the 4 chord is major, the 5 chord is major. So in C major, it's C major, F major, and G major, which is all the white notes in a piano. And sometimes nobody really fusses about the harmonic major, which would have an F minor, which would have an A flat minor in it, which would have an A flat in it, which would be a flat 6, which would give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7, 8 as a formula, or C, D, E, F, G, A flat, B, C in the key of C. I like that sound, but it's not considered groundbreaking or essential to music. I think it sounds good though. In the Stryper's song "Holding On," which I did, when he goes, "I never thought it would be this good. I never even dreamed." That part, he's going C to F minor. He's playing that 4 minor to get the "never even dreamed." Then it's back to C and G, and then A minor, F major, G major. But that's a cool effect. But for minors, everybody gets their feathers ruffled and says it has to have a major dominant. So if I'm in the white keys, no sharps or flats, signature, I would have A minor. And the three natural chords in that key are 1, 4, and 5. One is minor, 4 is minor, 5 is minor, or tonic, subdominant, dominant. All of them are minor. So you'd have A minor, D minor, E minor. That's the chords that, thanks, Matt, for $1.99. That's the chords that naturally come from the white notes. It's nature. It's just having a minor triad on the 1, a minor triad on the 4, and a minor triad on the 5. So in A minor would be A minor, D minor, E minor. That's all white notes, and it's in the key of A minor, which is the relative minor key to C major. C major is therefore the relative major key to A minor. But everybody says, oh, no, no, you can't do that. You have to make an E major, which gives you a G sharp, which now gives you a harmonic minor, which is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7, 8, or note-wise A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. And sometimes you want melodic minor, which has an F sharp, which that would be a D major as well as an E major. So the 1 would be minor, the 4 would be a major, and the 5 would be major. So now you would have A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And that's secondarily thought of as not too bad, but sometimes used. And everybody gets stuck there. But what about the sound? And what about the nature of it? What about the symmetry of the scale and the notes and the math of it doesn't lead to that necessity. It's only thought or sound, or people think that you need to put those major chords in there. And it's custom, it's convention, it's culture. But I thought, first of all, that's not even in the scale. The scale naturally spits out an A minor, a D minor, and an E minor. So that's actually more natural than having an E major for some dumb reason. But not only that, what if it actually sounds good? Well, I didn't know because I was on a walk and I don't have a guitar on my walk. And I didn't even come rushing home and figure it out. I waited till I was actually going to do a live to do it for the first time. And I did this idea for the first time on my Lighter Shade of Mozart live I just did. It was shorter, but you know, I said what I needed on the guitar. And I like that sound. I like the natural minor sound. It actually sounds more minor in some ways because you have all minor triads. Sneaking in an E major in the key of A minor is kind of majoring it up in some ways. Yeah, it makes it sound authentic or dramatic or different or weird, and all those can be good things. But just the straight A minor, D minor, E minor, A natural minor idea actually sounds just as minor, if not more so, if you have an ear and listening to what you're actually playing, rather than just going by convention and what people have told you or you've read in the music theory books. And I like it. Now, yes, once in a while you can slip in E major in the key of A minor, but then again, you can slip in F minor in the key of C major, like I just said about Stryper's song. Everything's flexible, but the nature says it's actually literally called a natural minor. It's natural. The nature wants you to play 3 minor triads, 1, 4, and 5, all minor. And that gives you an A. If you're in all the white notes key, gives you an A natural minor scale. And I think it sounds bitching, whatever the right way of saying that is. And it sounds very minor to me. It sounds very minor, like you're really minor. You know, you're not just kind of half hybrid major minor. You kind of sound major when you go to the dominant chord, but then you're back to minor. And people like Yngwie Malmsteen have made this almost like a God said idea about the harmonic minor thing. And I don't agree with what God said. I agree with what sounds good and what the nature and the math says. I don't care if Yngwie Malmsteen or anybody else says otherwise. I do my own research, and I like this natural minor sound. I'm not going to only do that, though. Sometimes it's good to play harmonic minor as an effect, or as a nuance, or as a difference, or as something added to your sound, and sometimes even melodic minor, especially if you're doing like I Hate Iran, which we're going to do in the studio, where you want that Middle Eastern sound of the melodic minor scale, and that's very essential, very cool. But the math and the nature doesn't point there first and directly. It's the natural minor that comes out of the math. And if that doesn't work, then something's wrong with the math, and maybe we all should stop playing music or something. But it does. The natural minor scale sounds really good. People have said it, even I've said, it sounds like alien mode, and you're not. No, it doesn't. Not if you play it right. If you play it right, you sound like you're in a minor key. And then when you go to the relative major or to a different major key, if you do that, you sound like you're in a major key. If you handle the notes right, if you know what the fuck you're doing, the natural minor scale and the natural minor, actually works. It's my go-to minor right now, and maybe probably from now on. And I never figured that out until one of my walks just very recently. So, and so while I'm talking, while I'm yakking, let's do some key signature work. I've mentioned the white keys, but let's mention keys. And I don't have a guitar in my hand, but hey, that's not going to help much. It's more the mind when it comes to music theory anyway. Music theory is very mental. You don't have to explain it with sound and having an instrument if you know what you're thinking. So let's do some key work, and then maybe we'll be done with the video. Thank you for watching if you are. So the no sharps and no flats is C major or A minor. Two different ways of looking at it. Let's do major first. Or maybe combine them, we'll see what happens. C major is no sharps, no flats. G major has one sharp. D major, going around the circle of fifths. D major has two sharps. A major has three sharps. E major has four sharps. B major has five sharps. And F sharp major has six sharps. And C sharp major has seven sharps. If you go into G sharp major, you have eight sharps. That gives you a double sharp. I think it gives you an F double sharp. I don't like that way of notating. In fact, you could even have nine sharps, 10 sharps, 11 sharps, 12 sharps. You know, but you're gonna have a bunch of double sharps. If you look at the key of C as B sharp, you have 12 sharps, but that includes 5 double sharps. Very awkward, very unnecessary, probably. D sharp major would have 9 sharps. A sharp major would have 10 sharps. E sharp major would have 11 sharps. And B sharp major would have 12 sharps. But to do that, you have to add consecutively F sharp, F double sharp, C double sharp, G double sharp, D double sharp, F double sharp, C double sharp, G double sharp, D double sharp, and A double sharp. Not fun. So usually start with no sharps, no flats, go to up to 7 sharps, and then you're going to do the same thing with flats. C major is no sharps, no flats. F major is 1 flat. B flat major is 2 flats. A flat. E flat major is 3 flats. A flat major is 4 flats. D flat major is 5 flats. G flat major is 6 flats, and C flat major is 7 flats. If you want to go C, D, E, F, you could do I guess you could do F flat major, which would have 8 flats. You'd have to have a B double flat or something. That sounds right? I think so. I think that's correct. Weird, not necessary. Don't need to go into 8 flats, 9 flats, 10 flats, 11 flats, and 12 flats. The key of D double flat would have 12 flats, but that would include B flat, B double flat, E double flat, A double flat, D, B double flat, E double flat, A double flat, D double flat, and G double flat. Not necessary for almost anything. But those are your keys and majors. And before I go on about this, an interesting rule of thumb is that the number of flats and sharps in an inharmonic, when you have one note that's a key that can be thought of as sharps and flats, then the number of sharps and flats adds to 12. What did I mean by that? Well, let's say the key of F sharp major has 6 sharps. The key of G flat major has 6 flats. Well, F sharp and G flat are the same note, just inharmonically different, spelled differently. But 6 and 6 make 12. So if you want to know if F sharp has 6 sharps and G flat is equal to F sharp inharmonically, then the number of flats in G flat would be 12 minus 6, which is 6, because 6 and 6 make 12. So in inharmonic keys, the number of sharps and the number of flats of any one given note adds to 12. So let's say I'm in the key of B major has 5 sharps, but C flat is also B, has 7 flats, and 7 and 5 make 12. So if you have B major is 5 sharps, C flat major is 7 flats, and 7 and 5 make 12. Same note, but just spelled differently harmonically. If I have D flat major, that has 5 flats, but if C sharp major has 7 sharps, but D flat and C sharp are the same note, just spelled differently. D flat is 5 flats, C sharp is 7 sharps, 7 and 5 make 12. So if I go to G sharp major, that has 8 sharps, but A flat major has 4 flats, and 8 and 4 is 12, because A flat and G sharp are the same note. And if I have F flat major, then that has 8 flats, but F flat is E sharp. No, F flat is E, isn't it? F flat is E. Yes, F flat is E, and E major has 4 sharps. So since E major has 4 sharps and F flat major has 8 flats, 8 and 4 make 12, and because E and F flat are the same note. So you can think of it like this. You start up at 0, and if I go sharp a certain amount, I would go flat the opposite amount to make 12. If I go flat a certain amount, I would go sharpen the same amount, to the same point to make the same note, but you add the 2 partial arcs, partial circles, you get, it all has to add to 12 because there's 12 steps either direction. So if I go to F sharp clockwise is 6 sharps, G flat counterclockwise is 6 flats, so 6 and 6 make 12. If I said that right, 6 sharps clockwise is F sharp, 6 flats counterclockwise is G flat, F sharp and G flat are the same note, and 6 and 6 make 12. It's just geometry around on the circle of fifths. Think of it physically if you want to. Okay, so now we got to do the minor keys. The no sharp, no flat key is A. So now you have at the top you have A minor, no sharps, no flats. Let's see if we can pull this off. A minor is no sharps, no flats. E minor is 1 sharp. B minor is 2 sharps. F sharp minor is 3 sharps. C sharp minor is 4 sharps. G sharp minor is 5 sharps. D sharp minor is 6 sharps, and A sharp minor is 7 sharps. So just sharps right up the bat. Flats, A minor is no flats, no sharps. D minor is 1 flat. G minor is 2 flats. C minor is 3 flats. F minor is 4 flats. B flat minor is 5 flats. E flat minor is 6 flats, and A flat minor is 7 flats. So that's the flats, and it's this circle of fifths work, and it's good to know that. It's good to know all that, especially if you're writing music down on tablet. On staff paper. But even if you're not, knowing your music theory, even if you're just playing by ear, is really good to know. It can only help you. It's not, knowing this isn't a hindrance. It can only help. The only hindrance is if you don't know it, you might run into walls where you're in trouble. But it's good to know all the theory if you can. And another thing I've noticed in my playing also is it's good to know, though not always essential, but doesn't hurt to know where your notes are on the neck of a guitar. It's not an essential, because you can play without knowing that. but it can also help in ways in times when not knowing it would not be as good. Explanation. Let's say I'm on the low 6th string and I'm playing an A riff. So A, B, G sharp, like a major 1, 1, 2, 1, 7, 1. So A, B, A, G sharp, A, little lick. I know right away I can go to the 5th string on the 12th fret because that's also an A. Then I also know I can go right away to the 14th fret of the G string because that's also an A. And I know I can go right to the 17th fret of the high E string because it's also an A. If I didn't know that, those licks would be harder to transpose up and down octaves instantaneously because I'd have to think too hard and I wouldn't be able to do it in time. I mean, and I wouldn't have the time to think it out and wouldn't be as easy. It's good to know so when you jump around, you know where you're at. And I think a good exercise, which I just recently did for the first time in my life, is mentally go insane. No, mentally go up each string from the 0th fret to the 12th fret and say to yourself every note on every string from the 0th fret to the 12th fret. That's 72 notes. 6 times 12 is 72. And just say that and know it in your mind and know it and see it and visualize it. Know that from the 12th fret to the 24th fret is just a transposition of that. No big deal. 15 is 3 fret-wise and so forth. 16 is 4. But to do that in your mind and then hear it, see it in your head is really cool. I mean, don't just read it and don't just do it calculatedly. Think about the guitar neck as you're doing it. Think about and just picture each fret as you go from the open string to the 12th fret on all 6 strings, doing 1 string at a time, and know that. Just know that as you're saying that, you know all those notes. You just learned all the notes on the guitar neck. If you want to go an octave higher to the 12th fret to the 24th fret, it's just add 12. The concept is still the same. So anyway, love you guys, peace, love, and rock and roll.